What's up everybody, this is Morteza Kordi, and in this video I'm going to talk about the chapter intro control flow. So as we are writing a program, we need to let the computer know what we exactly want to happen in different situations or scenarios. So for example, I want to create a dating application. So first, I want to make sure that the user's age is greater than 18. So here I have a condition that says that if the user's age is greater than 18, then I am going to allow the user to go ahead to sign up to the application. Otherwise, I don't want this process to happen. So if the user's age is not greater than 18, and this condition evaluates to false, in that case, I want to let the user know that we do not sign up users less than 18. So in that case, we simply say sorry. You can see that here we have a scenario, we have a situation that I want to happen. I want to have this condition so that the users less than 18 years old would not sign up to our application. That's the condition, that's the scenario. So that's what we are going to cover in this chapter of the course, control flow. We want to control the flow of the program. We do not want to allow the program to execute everything line by line. That's not what we want. We want something to happen based on a condition. So in this chapter, we are going to learn about making decisions in programming, and we will also learn about the Boolean type, which can only hold two values, true or false. That is necessary if you want to compare two types of data. In the next tutorial, we are going to learn about comparison operators. I look forward to seeing you next. Hey, what's up everybody, this is Morteza Kordi, and in this tutorial we are going to learn about comparison operators in Kotlin. So now let's go back to our dating app scenario. So I told you that I want to check that if the user's age is greater than 18 or not. So what do you think is going to be the result of this operation? It is an operation, right? Here we are checking for something that is either true or false. If the user's age is greater than 18, then the value is true. But if the user's age is not greater than 18, then in that case the value is false. So that's what I mean when I talk about the Boolean type. This is the type that we are going to learn about in this video. So now you might ask that where do this name come from? This name comes from a man or a mathematician named as George Boole. This guy was a very clever mathematician that invented an entire field of mathematics around the concept of true or false. So let's say that I have a variable named as sure, and its type is going to be Boolean with capital B, assignment operator, and I'm going to assign the value true to this variable. So now if I go ahead and print this value to the console, you will see that the value true is going to be outputted to the console. This means that the variable sure contains the value true. So whenever I refer to this sure variable, I am actually referring to this true value. We can have another variable. We can say cancel, and I can specify the type to be Boolean, and this time I'm going to assign the value false. So now if I output this value to the console, cancel, you will see that the value false is outputted here to the console. So this Boolean data type can only store true or false. Remember that. So in the next video, we are going to learn about Boolean operators in Kotlin. I look forward to seeing you next. Hey, what's up everybody, this is Morteza Kordi, and in this video we are going to learn about the Boolean operators. We usually use Booleans to compare values. So here, let's create a variable, and let's say that the name of this variable is 10 greater than 20? So notice how I am naming my variables, it is meaningful. And here I am using camel case, So there must be no space here, otherwise the compiler is going to complain. So that's very important. Now this is my variable. I'm going to specify the type explicitly, so I can say Boolean. But because of the type inference feature of the Kotlin programming language, I can drop or omit the type here. I can leave off the type, and I can put an assignment operator. So I'm going to put a pair of parentheses here, and I'm going to put my expression here. I can say 10 is greater than 20. So this is my expression. An expression returns a value. Okay, so now I'm going to print out this value to the console. I'm going to say println, and I'm going to refer to this variable name, is 10 greater than 20. Let's run the app and see the result. In the console, the value false is outputted here. So what's going on here? You can see that this is our variable, and here we have an expression. An expression returns a value. So it's going to take a look at this expression, and it's going to say, okay, is the value 10 greater than 20? So logically, no. 10 is not greater than 20. So what's going to happen? It's going to return the value false. And the compiler thinks that the data type of our variable is actually Boolean because of this condition or because of this expression that we put here. So if I click on this variable name and hold down the Shift Control P, you will see that it's going to show us the data type Boolean. So Shift Control P, Boolean, because of this expression. So we use the Boolean data type in order to compare values. Whenever we are comparing values, we are actually using the Boolean type. So let's create another expression. So let's say var, and this time the name is going to be is 20 equal to 20. Assignment operator, and I'm going to put a pair of parentheses because I'm going to use an expression here. So here I am going to talk about the equal operator in programming. So the equal operator here is not called equal in programming. In programming, we use two equal operators, and now it is called equal operator. Okay, so one equal operator is called assignment operator. So the same that we used here, this is called assignment operator. This is not called an equal operator. An assignment operator means that whatever we have on the right hand side of this operator is going to be assigned to the left hand side of this operator. But what about the equal operator itself? So that is double equal operators. So now it is called equal. So here I can say is 20 equal to 20. So this expression means that is 20 equal to 20. So now what's going to be the result? The result is going to be true because number 20 is actually equal to 20. And if I output this value to the console, you will see the value true outputted to the console. So here it is, the result. Okay, let's create another expression. Let's learn about the not equal operator. So we have var, and I have is 10 not equal to 20. Assignment operator, and I'm going to use a pair of parentheses. So I have 10. So the not equal operator is used by putting a bang operator or an exclamation mark and then an assignment operator. So now it is called not equal. Okay, a bang operator or an exclamation mark and then an assignment operator. So here I can say 10 is not equal to 20. So what do you think is going to be the result? 10 is not equal to 20. So the result of this operation is going to be true. So if I output this value to the console, you will see the value true to be outputted to the console. Is 10 not equal to 20? Yes, that's true. 10 is not equal to 20. And we're going to see the result here. Hopefully that makes sense. So now let me talk a little bit about this not or bang operator. So this bang operator toggles true to false and false to true. Let me give you some real world examples. So let's say the name of this variable is going to be yes. And I'm going to put assignment operator, and I'm going to use this bang or not operator. And then I'm going to use the value true here. So now this bang operator or this not operator is going to toggle the value true to false, and then it's going to assign the value false to this variable yes. So if I try to output this value to the console, you will see the value false will be outputted to the console. So let me first comment out these lines of code here so that we only see that these two codes will be executed. So in the console, the value false is outputted here. Why? Because this not operator toggled this value true to false. Or you can toggle the value false to true by using this operator. So let's see some more real-world examples about the not operator. So we have var, and I can say false 1. This is the name of my variable. Notice that you cannot use the reserved names as the name of your variables. So for example, the value false is a reserved name in Kotlin. We cannot use it as the name of our variable here. Okay, Kotlin does not allow that to happen. So I'm going to change it to false 1. Assignment operator, and I'm going to say, so let's put a pair of parentheses here, and let's say 100 is equal to 100. So this expression evaluates to true. This expression returns the value true, right? So I can use the not operator before this parenthesis. So what do you think is going to happen next? It's going to flip the value true to false, and it's going to assign the value false to this variable false 1. So let's go ahead and output the value of this variable to the console, and let's see the result. So here it is, the result false. So let's create another variable. Let's say var, and I'm going to name it as true1, assignment operator, and I'm going to put a pair of parentheses. So this time I'm going to say 200 is greater than 300. So this expression returns the value false. Why? Because 200 is not greater than 300. It is actually less than 300, right? So I can flip this value to true by using this not operator. Because this not operator can flip the value false to true. So let's go ahead and output this value to the console and make sure that everything is working as normal. So println true1, and let's run the app. So the value true is outputted here. So now let's learn about the remaining operators. We've got the less than operator. So first let me tell you that you cannot start your variable or constant names with a number. So for example, I cannot say 1 is less than something else, okay? You cannot start your variable name with a number. You should always start your variable name with a character. So I'm going to say is 1 less than 2. Assignment operator, and here I've got 1 less than 2. So let's output this value to the console. So the value is true, and we've got also the greater than or equal operator. So first let me comment out these two lines of code. So var, so now let's set the variable name to be is 10 greater than or equal to 9. Assignment operator, and then here I can say 10 is greater than or equal to 9. Okay, so this is the operator that we are using here. Let's put this expression inside the parenthesis. So now it's going to evaluate this expression. So it's going to return true because 10 is actually greater than 9. So if I try to output this value to the console, you will see that it's going to output the value true. So here again, the value true outputted to the console. And we've got also the operator less than or equal to. So let me comment out these two lines of code. So let's say var, and the name of the variable is going to be is 20 less than or equal to 20. Assignment operator, parenthesis, 20 less than or equal to 20. So what do you think is going to be the result? True, because 20 is actually equal to 20. So I can say println is 20 less than or equal to 20, then it's going to output the value true to the console. So here it is, the result. Hopefully that makes sense. In the next video, we are going to learn about Boolean Logic. I look forward to seeing you next. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Morteza Kordi, and in this video, we are going to learn about Boolean Logic. So let's go back to our dating app scenario. So first I told you that I want the age to be greater than 18, right? So this is only for one condition, only one expression. How about I have another condition? For example, I want the user to be single. I don't want the married users to sign up to my application. So I also have another condition, right? So here I'm gonna say, is user single? So this is my second condition. What should I do now? So far, we have only learned to handle only one condition. In the previous tutorial, we only learned about one expression that returned either true or false. So what we should do now that we have two conditions? Maybe we want to create another application that is going to require us to handle 10 conditions. What should I do in that situation, in that scenario? What's the solution here? So now I am going to talk about the Boolean logic. Here, if we have two or more conditions, we need to use the AND or logical operators. These are the two operators that we should use if we have two or more conditions. So in this case, I have a dating app. I want the user's age to be greater than 18, and I also want the user to be single. I do not want to allow the married people to sign up to my application. So in this case, I'm gonna say if age is greater than 18 and is user single. If both of these conditions are true, then I am going to return the value true. Otherwise, I'm gonna return the value false. So imagine the user's age is greater than 18. So in this case, the value true is returned. So now I am using the AND operator here, right? So it's gonna check the second condition. The second condition says that if the user is actually single. So if the second condition is false and the user is actually married, in that case, it's gonna return the value false, and the whole expression is going to return the value false. Okay? Why? Because I am using the AND logical operator. So what does this OR logical operator do? This OR logical operator doesn't care if one of these conditions evaluate to false. So in that case, if only one of these conditions evaluate to true, then the value of the whole expression is going to be true. So for example, in this case, in our dating app scenario, I'm gonna ask the user if the age is greater than 18. So if the user's age is greater than 18, the value true is returned. But I am going to ask for another condition. I'm gonna say that if the user is single or not. So if the user is not single and the value false is returned, then because I am using the OR operator, then the value of the whole expression is going to be true. Because only one condition is enough to be true, so that the whole expression will be true. But the AND operator requires both of the conditions to be true. So now let's get into code, and then this concept will completely make sense. Okay, so now let's see what we have here. First of all, we have the variable age of type integer, and I initially assigned the value 20 to this variable. Next, we have another variable named as is user single, and I assigned the value true to this variable. So now let's see what we have next. We have another variable. The name is dating result, and it is of type Boolean. So we've got two conditions here. The first condition says age is greater than 18, and so we show the AND operator. So this is how we represent the AND operator in code. Just hold down the shift key on your keyboard and then press on the number 7 key on your keyboard 2 times. This is called AND operator. And then we have the second condition. It says is user single is equal to true. So if both of these conditions are true, then the value of the whole expression evaluates to true, and then the value true will be assigned to this variable dating result. Next, we have this line of code that is going to output the value of the dating result to the console. So let's go ahead and run the app and let's see what happens. So here the value true is outputted to the console. Why? Because first of all, the first condition evaluates to true. Number 20 is greater than 18, right? So this evaluates to true. And is user single equal to true? So again, this condition is true because initially we assigned the value true to this variable. So the value of both of these conditions evaluate to true, and the value true is assigned to this dating result. So as a result, you can see in the console the value true here. But now let me change one of these conditions. Let's say that the user's age is not 20, it is actually 15. And the user is single is equal to true. So now let's run the app and see what happens. In the console, the value false is outputted here. Why? Because one of these conditions is now false. So that means that the value of the whole expression evaluates to false. Age is not greater than 18, it is actually false. And is user single is equal to true. So when using the AND operator, if only one of the conditions evaluate to false, in that case, the value of the whole expression evaluates to false. It doesn't matter whether, for example, one of them is true. So in order to have the value true as the result of the AND operator, both of the conditions must be true. Otherwise, the value of the whole expression evaluates to false. So now let's learn about the OR operator. So here I've commented out these lines of code, and I'm going to put another condition here. I'm going to create another variable first. I'm going to say dating result 2. So notice that your variable names must be unique. Otherwise, we are going to have compile errors. So for example, if I write a variable name that is actually the same as another variable name that I have inside my file, then the compiler is going to complain. So here, for example, if I create a variable name as age here, and I assign the value of 34 to this variable, you can see that it's showing us an error, and it says that we have conflicting declarations. So your variable names must be unique inside your file. So now let's change the name of this variable to dating result 2, assignment operator. So here we have one condition. If the age is greater than 18, or, so the OR operator is created like this. Hold down the shift key on your keyboard and then press on the / key on your keyboard 2 times. So this is called OR operator. So next we have the second condition. It is going to be is user single is actually true. Okay, so now let me create a new line so that you can see what's going on here. And now I'm gonna print out the value of this dating result 2 to the console. Let's run the app. So in the console, the value true is outputted here. What's going on here? You can see that the value age is 15. So the first condition evaluates to false because 15 is not greater than 18. So this one evaluates to false. But here we have the OR operator. The OR operator only cares about one operation, okay? So only if one of these conditions is true, then the value of the whole expression evaluates to true, and the value true is going to be assigned to this dating result 2 variable, and it's going to be outputted to the console. So the age is not greater than 18, it is going to be false. Or is user single is true? Yes, the value of the is user single is true. So now the value of the whole expression evaluates to true, and that's why in the console we see the value true. But if I change the value true of this is user single to false, now because both of these conditions are false, the value of the whole expression evaluates to false, and we're gonna see the value false outputted to the console here. So hopefully that makes sense. And if both of these conditions are true, again, the value true will be assigned to this dating result 2. So here, if I change the age to 25, and if I change the is user single to true, now the value of both of these conditions will be evaluated to true, and the value true will be outputted to the console, like this one. We can also form a complex comparison using the Boolean logic. By comparison, I mean combining more than two conditions. So let's see a real-world example. Let me first comment out these lines of code here. So here I can say var dating result. I'm gonna say parentheses. So first, if the value 100 is greater than 50, and so notice that I am using the AND operator inside the parenthesis, and the age is greater than 50, and then outside the parentheses I can use an OR operator, or is user single is equal to true. So notice what's going on here. It's a complex comparison. We've got more than two conditions here. So let me tell you how this operation is going to be executed. How the computer is going to calculate the result of this operation. So first, we know that the parenthesis has higher precedence than anything else. So the operation inside the parenthesis will be executed first. So we've got number 100 is greater than 50. So we've got number 100 is greater than 50. This expression evaluates to true, and is age greater than 50? So this expression evaluates to false. So this means that the value of this whole expression evaluates to false. Why? Because the value of the age is currently 25. That's why the value of this whole expression inside the parenthesis will be false. Now we've got the value false, and here we've got the OR operator is user single is equal to true. So in this case, now we've got a false, and then we have the value true. So here, because we've got the OR operator, now the value of the whole expression will be true, because the OR operator only cares about one condition. Okay, if one condition is true, that's enough. The value of the whole expression will be true. So let me create a new line so that you can see what's going on here, and let me also change the name of this variable to dating result free. I forgot to put the number 3 here. Okay, now let's go ahead and output the value of this dating result free to the console. Let's say println dating result free. Let's run the app. So the value true is outputted here. Okay, so now if I go ahead and change the value of this age to 55, now you can see that it's going to evaluate the value of this expression age is greater than 50 to true. So now if I run the app, it's going to output the value true to the console, as you can see here. Okay, because here we've got the AND operator, and the AND operator requires both of these conditions to be true. So now both of these conditions are true. Then we've got the OR operator, and is user single is true, and the value true is assigned to this dating result free, and that's why you can see this value to the console. So now I'm going to show you another thing. So what if I change this is user single to false, and also change the age to 20? So this time it's going to output the value false to the console, as you can see here. Why? Because first of all, the age is not greater than 50, so the value of this expression inside the parenthesis will be false, and the user is not single because we changed its value to false. So here you can see that this condition also evaluates to false. So now both of these conditions are false, and now the value false is assigned to this dating result free, and that's why in the console you can see the value false. In the next tutorial, we are going to learn about string equality. I look forward to seeing you next. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Morteza Kordi, and in this video, we are going to learn about string equality. We can actually compare two string values the same as we did with numbers. So let's create two string variables or constants. Okay, so now in order to compare these two values, I just need to say var string result. So this is my new variable name, which is going to be of type Boolean. Assignment operator, and here I can put a pair of parentheses and say iPhone is equal to Nexus. So what do you think is going to be the result? It is going to be false. Why? because iPhone is not Nexus. So let's output the result to the console. So the value false is outputted to the console. Just like numbers, we can also check which value is greater than the other. So for example, here I can say val string result 2, it is of type Boolean, assignment operator, and then here I can say iPhone is greater than Nexus. So what do you think is going to be the result? Let's output the result to the console, and then I will talk how this expression is going to be executed. So let's say string result 2. So the value true is outputted to the console for this expression, iPhone is greater than Nexus. What's happening here? Why the value true? So this syntax or expression that you can see here checks if one string value comes before another string value alphabetically. So in this case, I am checking that this Nexus comes before this iPhone alphabetically. So for example, let's change this iPhone to A inside the double quotes. So just put 2 double quotes and then put the letter A here. So we know that the letter A comes before the letter B. So let's put double quotes and then B. We know that the letter A comes before the letter B alphabetically, right? So in this case, this condition should evaluate to true because A is less than B. So let's go ahead and run the app. So now it's going to output the value of this string result 2 to be true. So what happens if I say that the A is greater than B? So that is wrong because A comes before the letter B alphabetically. So this expression evaluates to false, and if I run the app, you should see the value false outputted to the console. So when I say iPhone is greater than Nexus, it's gonna check these 2 string values alphabetically, and it's gonna see if one string value comes before the other string value alphabetically. Hopefully that makes sense. So now if I run the app, it's gonna output the value true to the console because the Nexus value comes before the iPhone, and here it is the result. In the next video, we are going to learn about if expression in Kotlin. I look forward to seeing you next. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Morteza Kurdi, and in this video, we are going to learn about if expression in Kotlin. So let's assume that we want to create a dating application. So first we need a variable in order to hold the age value. So I'm gonna say var age is equal to 20. Okay, so now in order to create an if expression in Kotlin, we need to say if and then a pair of parentheses. Inside the parentheses is where your expression goes, your condition. So I'm gonna say if age is greater than 18, then if this condition is true, then the codes inside the curly braces will be executed. So we have the if keyword, then we have the parenthesis that is going to contain the condition or expression, and then we have a pair of braces, an opening curly brace followed by a closing curly brace. So if this condition inside the parenthesis is true, then it's gonna go ahead and go inside the curly braces of this if statement, and it's gonna execute whatever code that we have here. So that's all about if expressions in Kotlin. So here notice that if you are coming from other programming languages, you might note that I am actually referring to this one as if expression instead of if statement, because unlike other programming languages, this one is called if expression because it is going to return a value. We'll learn more about this one later. For now, this is called if expression. Okay, so if the age is greater than 18, I want the user to go ahead and sign up to the application. So I can allow the user to sign up. So now, if I go ahead and run the app, let's see what happens. So the value sign up is outputted to the console. What's going on here? First of all, we have the variable age. Initially, it contains the value 20. And here I have this if statement. It says if the value of this age variable is greater than 18, so it is true because 20 is greater than 18. Then the flow of the program will go inside the curly braces of this if statement, and it's gonna execute whatever code that we have here. So here we only have one line of code, one println statement. So it's going to output sign up to the console. So let me change the value of this age variable to 10. So now if I go ahead and run the program, you will see that nothing is outputted to the console. Why? Because this condition is now false. The age is not greater than 18. So the flow of the program will not go inside the curly braces of this if statement. It's going to actually skip this if statement and it's going to end the program. Done. Nothing is going to be outputted to the console. Okay? Or I might have another condition. I might say var is user single, assignment operator, and I'm going to assign the value true to this variable. And here inside the parenthesis of this if statement, I'm going to use two conditions. So here I'm going to use the AND operator. And I'm going to say is user single is true. So if both of these conditions are true, then it's going to go ahead and execute this line of code, println sign up. And here I'm using the AND logical operator. So if I go ahead and change the value of this age to 25, now if I run the app, you can see that it's going to execute this if statement and it's going to output the value sign up to the console. Hopefully that makes sense so far. So what happens if these two conditions of this if statement are not met? I mean, if the user is not qualified to sign up to my dating application, then we should somehow let the user know what's wrong. What is wrong that we do not allow the user to sign up to our application? In that case, after the ending curly brace of our if statement, we can have an else block. So just type in here else after the ending curly brace of the if statement. And then open and close the curly braces here. So this opening curly brace followed by a closing curly brace is related to this else block. Inside this else block, I can say println, and I can say you are not qualified to sign up to our dating application. So here it is, the text, you are not qualified to sign up to our dating application, or whatever text you want to show to the user if this if statement is not executed. So for example, here I can change the value of this age to 10, right? So now it's gonna take a look at this if statement, and one of these conditions is false, right? So then it's gonna go ahead and skip this if statement, and it's gonna execute this else statement. So this means that if the expression inside the parentheses of this if statement fails, then in that case it's gonna execute this else block. Otherwise, if the expression inside the parentheses of this if statement does not fail and it evaluates to true, then it's gonna execute the code inside the curly braces of this if statement, and it's gonna skip this else block. So if I run the app now, you can see that it's gonna execute this else block. Why? Because here the value of this age is not greater than 18. It is 10 actually. So the condition inside the if statement fails, and it's gonna execute this else block. And here it says you are not qualified to sign up to our dating application. So I can also simplify this block of code here. I can say if, so I'm gonna use this expression in one line of code. So if, inside the parentheses, I'm gonna use the expression. So I'm gonna copy and paste this code here and paste it inside the parentheses and say if this condition is true, then execute this println statement. So I'm gonna copy it and paste it here. Otherwise, so I'm gonna put an else statement and then copy and paste this println statement here. So in one line of code, I could actually use this expression and this if else statement. I do not have to occupy about 5 or 7 lines of code. In one line of code, I can say if the age is greater than 18 and is user single is equal to true. If this condition is true, then it's gonna execute this println statement. Otherwise, then it's gonna execute this else, and it's gonna println this value to the console. So let me highlight this if else statement, and then I'm gonna comment out these lines of code. So now let's run the app and see what happens. Again, you can see this value is outputted to the console. So for example, if I change the value of this age to 27 and if I run the app, you should see that now it says sign up. It's okay to sign up. So hopefully that makes sense. By using the if-else expression, we can also calculate the maximum or the minimum of two numbers. So first let me comment out these lines of code here and also this one. So now I'm going to create two variables, and the first one is going to be first number, assignment operator 10, and the second variable is going to be second number, and initially I'm going to assign the value 20 to this variable, and I'm going to create a new variable that is going to hold the result. So I'm going to say result, and I'm going to specify the type, but I don't want to assign any value to this variable. So initially it doesn't have any value. So I'm going to say if the first number is greater than the second number. So notice that when I say first number, I am actually referring to the value of this first number. And when I say second number, I am referring to this value. So when I say if first number is greater than second number, I mean if 10 is greater than 20, then this means that the result is going to be what? Is going to be the first number. So here let's give this variable a more meaningful name. So instead of result, I'm going to change it to max number because I want to calculate the maximum number. Okay? So here I can say if first number is greater than the second number, then the max number is going to be first number. The first number is going to be the max number, so I'm going to assign it to this variable. Otherwise, else, if this condition inside the parentheses fails, this means that the first number is not greater than the second number. So in that case, this means that the second number is actually greater than the first number. In that case, I'm going to say that the max number is going to be the second number. Okay, so now you might say that sometimes the first number is actually equal to the second number. So here we do not check for that condition. We either have the first number as the greater number or the second number as the greater number. Okay, for now don't worry about those other conditions. We'll learn more about them later. For now, focus on learning this if-else expression. So now I'm going to create another variable in order to hold the minimum number. So I'm going to say min number. Again, it is going to be of type integer. So now I'm going to create another if-else expression and say if the first number is less than the second number, then in that case, the minimum number is going to be the first number. So I'm going to say min number, first number. So here I am assigning the value of the first number to this min number. Else, so if this condition here fails, then this means that the second number is going to be the minimum number. So I'm going to say second number, assignment operator. So I'm going to say the minimum number is going to be what? The second number. So hopefully that makes sense. Now, if I go ahead and run the app, let's see what is going to be outputted to the console. So nothing is outputted to the console. Why? Because before the ending curly brace of this main method, I'm going to use the println statement in order to output the value of the max number, and also I want to output the value of the minimum number. So min number. Let's go ahead and run the app. So the maximum number is number 20 and the minimum number is number 10. So now it's time to learn about if and if-else blocks. So first let me go ahead and comment out these lines of code. So now let's create a new variable and let's name it as my score. So for example, I'm playing a video game and I'm going to calculate, or I'm going to keep track of my score. I'm going to see what is going to be the result for each score. Initially, I'm going to assign the value 10 to this variable. So I'm going to say if my score is greater than or equal to 10, then I'm going to say println bad, okay, or bad score. And then I'm going to say else if. So here I have another condition. So if this condition here fails, it's going to take a look at the other condition after the ending curly brace of this if statement. Else if my score is greater than or equal to 20, then in that case, I'm going to say the score is not bad. So I'm going to say println not bad. Okay, and I can also have another condition. So if these two other conditions above fail, and if these conditions evaluate to false, then it's going to execute the other condition that I am going to write here. Else if my score is greater than or equal to 30, I'm going to say println. And if also this condition here evaluates to false, then we have another if statement. We can say else if my score is greater than or equal to 40, then here I can say very good, println, very good. Okay, and also I can say else if my score is greater than or equal to 50, then I can say great. And we can also have an else block if none of the conditions above evaluate to true. So I can say println unknown score. So let's run the app and let's see what happens, and then I am going to explain to you what's going on here exactly. So now in the console, the value bad score is outputted here. So the value of this my score variable is 10. And it's going to take a look at this if statement. The first condition evaluates to true because my score is actually equal to number 10. So it's going to execute this statement, bad score. If only one of these conditions is evaluated to true, then the other conditions, the other else if conditions, will be skipped. Okay, this is very important. You can see that, for example, the value of the score is also greater than 20. The value of this score is greater than 30. It is also greater than 40 and 50. Why these other conditions not executed? Because only one of these conditions will be executed. Only one. Because we have if and else if. So for example, if I change the value of this my score to 37 here, let's see what happens if I run the app. Now you can see that it's going to again output the value bad score. It's not going to go ahead and execute, for example, this else if block here. It's not going to execute this println statement and output the value good to the console. Instead, the first condition is evaluated to true. Number 37 is greater than 10, so that's true. And it's going to execute this println statement. It's going to output the value bad score to the console, as you can see here. And the other conditions are skipped completely. So in this case, if I want the second else if statement to be executed, I can simply add another condition to this if statement. I can simply say if my score is greater than or equal to 10 and if my score is actually greater than 40. So in this case, it's going to take a look at this condition and say, okay, the value of the my score is greater than 10, right? So it's true. And the value of the my score is greater than 40. So this expression evaluates to false, and it's going to skip this if statement because the value of the my score is currently 37. Now it's going to take a look at the second condition that we have here. The value of the my score is greater than 20, right? So it is true. Now it's going to execute this line of code, println not bad. So if I go ahead and run the project, you should see the value not bad outputted to the console. So hopefully that makes sense. In the next tutorial, we are going to learn about short circuiting in Kotlin. I look forward to seeing you next. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Morteza Kordi, and in this video, we are going to learn about short circuiting in Kotlin. So now let's take a look at the code and see what we have here. We have the age and we have the isUser single variables. So here we've got this if statement. Inside the parenthesis of this if statement, we've got two conditions. And notice that we are using the AND operator. What I told you about the AND operator is that if and only if one of the conditions is false, then it doesn't matter whether the second condition is false or true. The value of the whole expression will be evaluated to false. So take a look at these conditions here inside the if statement. So here it says if age is greater than 18, right? Notice what is the value of this age. It is 10. So this expression evaluates to false. So now Kotlin doesn't care about the second expression. In other words, because this first expression or this first condition is evaluated to false, then the value of the whole expression will be evaluated to false. So Kotlin in this case doesn't bother to check the second condition. Okay? In that case, it's gonna just return false. Now, let's take a look at this second if statement here, this if-else statement. Here, I am using the OR operator. And here I am saying that if age is greater than 18, right? So now let's change the value of this age to 30. Now let's take a look at the second if-else statement that we've got here. Here I am saying that if age is greater than 18, so notice what is the value of this age. It is 30. And because an OR operator only needs one condition to be true, so that the value of the whole expression will be true, then Kotlin is going to say, okay, the value of this age is greater than 18, right? It is 30. So it's not gonna bother checking the second condition. Now the value of the whole expression is evaluated to true. So it's gonna return true and it's gonna execute this line of code. This concept is called short circuiting. This will come in handy later when we are going to learn about complex data. Short circuiting will come in handy later when we are going to learn about complex data types in Kotlin. Just keep that in mind. In the next tutorial, we are going to learn about encapsulating variables in Kotlin. I look forward to seeing you next. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Morteza Kordi, and in this video, we are going to learn about encapsulating variables in Kotlin. So imagine we have a boxer, and this boxer has two variables. The first one is going to be the punch power, and the second variable is going to be the punch speed. So here the punch power is 110 and the punch speed is 80. So now let's say if the punch power is greater than 100 and the punch speed is greater than 70, then in that case I'm going to go ahead and calculate the overall performance of this boxer. So inside this if statement, inside the braces of this if statement, I'm going to go ahead and create a new variable, and its name is going to be overall performance. It is going to be of type integer, a summing operator. So I'm going to say punch power multiplied by punch speed. So now I'm going to go ahead and print out this value to the console. So I'm going to say println overall performance. Okay, so now let's go ahead and run the app. So by now you should know that the condition inside the if statement, inside the parenthesis of this if statement is true. And it's going to output this value to the console. Okay, so now outside of this if statement, outside of the curly braces of this if statement, I want to access something that I have created inside this if statement. I have created a variable inside this if statement, right? Its name is overall performance. And I want to access this variable outside of the braces of this if statement. So if I do that, let's see what happens. You can see that the autocomplete feature is not helping me in order to access this variable. What's happening here? If I do that, and if I hover over the error area, it says unresolved reference. Overall performance. The compiler does not know what I am referring to. So the problem is this if statement has introduced a new scope. What is the scope? The scope starts with an opening curly brace followed by a closing curly brace. When we create a variable or a constant inside the scope of this if statement, we cannot access that variable or constant outside of the scope of this if statement. So for example, here I cannot access the overall performance variable that I've created inside the curly braces of this if statement outside of this if statement. So I am inside the curly braces of this main function, right? So now I cannot access this overall performance. I can only access this overall performance inside the curly braces or scope of this if statement. I can say overall performance here, but I cannot say overall performance here. And here I want you to know that we have the parent scope and we have the child scope. So what do you think is the parent scope in this case? The parent scope starts with an opening curly brace of this main function and ends with this ending curly brace of this main function. So this is the parent scope. And what do you think is the child scope? The child scope is this if statement. It starts with this opening curly brace followed by this closing curly brace, right? So here I want you to know that every child scope or every scope can access the variables or constants of its parent scope. So inside the scope of this if statement, we could access the punch power and punch speed variables that we created inside the scope of this main function. Hopefully that makes sense. So this concept is called encapsulating variables. In the next video, we are going to learn about loops in Kotlin. I look forward to seeing you next. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Morteza Kurdi, and in this video we are going to learn about loops in Kotlin. So imagine that I want to output the value hi world 100 times to the console. So one stupid way is to just write the value hi world or the statement hi world 100 times and use it inside a println statement. That is a stupid way. So what is the smart way to do that? The smart way is to use a loop. The loop allows us to actually repeat our code for a number of times without even repeating ourselves. Okay? So if I want to output the value hi world 100 times to the console, I just need to create a loop, and by writing only one line of code, I can simply output this value hi world 100 times to the console. In the next tutorial, we are going to learn about while loops in Kotlin. I look forward to seeing you next. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Morteza Kurdi, and in this video, we are going to learn about while loops in Kotlin. So first and foremost, a while loop executes a block of code while a condition is true. It's like if statement. And it also introduces a new scope. So let's see how we can write a while loop. You just need to say while, and then inside the parentheses, we are going to put our condition. And then we need to go inside the curly braces of our while loop. So it starts with an opening curly brace followed by a closing curly brace. By now, you know what this means. It is a new scope. And then inside the while loop, we have our code that is going to be repeated based on the condition. So for example, I want to output the value hi world 10 times to the console. How I can do that? First of all, I need a counter so I can keep track of the number of times that I am outputting the value hi world to the console. So we need a variable. I'm gonna say the name of the variable is counter. It is going to be of type integer, and initially I'm going to assign the value 0 to this variable. So we need to have a condition. What do you think is going to be the condition? The condition is while the value of the counter is less than 10, in that case, go ahead and print out the value hi world to the console. So now if I go ahead and run the app, our application or our computer is going to freeze. Why? Because this condition will never evaluate to false. The condition that we have inside the parentheses says while the value of this counter variable is less than 10, then go ahead and output the value hi world to the console. So currently the value of this counter variable is 0. It is less than 10. And it will never evaluate to false. This condition will always be true, and it will always print out this hi world to the console. In this case, we are going to have an infinite loop, and it's a very, very bad practice. It's a very bad programming practice because we do not want to create an infinite loop that never stops so that our computer freezes. We do not want that to happen. So now if I go ahead and run the application, just see what happens. You can see that it never stops. It is just outputting the value hi world to the console. It will never stop. And now our application or our computer is going to freeze. So first of all, we need to stop this process. On the top right corner, just click on this stop icon, and now the program is stopped. But now take a look at the number of times that the computer outputted the value hi world to the console. So what do you think is the solution? The solution is to go inside the curly braces of this while loop, go inside the scope of this while loop. After printing this value hi world to the console, I'm gonna say counter plus plus. So this statement is going to add one value after each execution of this while loop. So for example, the first time that this while loop is going to be executed, the value of this counter variable is 0. So it's going to take a look at this condition. 0 is less than 10. True. So then it's going to print out this value to the console, and then it's going to add one value to the current value of the counter variable. So the current value of the counter variable is 0. So 0 plus 1 is going to be 1. Now the value of the counter variable is 1. So again, it's going to go ahead and take a look at this condition here. So now the counter variable is 1, right? The value is 1. 1 is less than 10. So again, it's going to go ahead and execute the codes inside the while loop. And then it's going to continue executing the codes until the value of this counter is actually 10, right? So in that case, it's not going to continue executing the codes inside the while loop. Why? Because now that the value of this counter variable is 10, 10 is not less than 10, right? So this condition evaluates to false, and it's not gonna execute the codes inside the curly braces of this while loop. In other words, it's gonna skip this while loop. So if I go ahead and run the application, you should see that it is going to output the value hi world 10 times to the console. If I want to, I can also output the value of the counter. So after this hi world, I can put a dash, and here I can use string templates. I can say $counter. Remember, we can create a string in place by using the string templates. And I can access the value of this counter variable inside the string value. So now if I go ahead and run the project, you should see that it's gonna specify the value of the counter. So the first time 0, the second time 1, until it goes to the 9. So here I want you to know that because in programming we always count from number 0, it starts from number 0, so it ends with number 9. If you just count them, you will see that we have 10 numbers here. The hi world is outputted to the console 10 times because we start from the number 0 and it ends with number 9. Hopefully that makes sense. So this is while loop in Kotlin. In the next video, we are going to learn about repeat while loops in Kotlin. I look forward to seeing you next. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Morteza Kordi, and in this video, we are going to learn about repeat while loops in Kotlin. We have another version of while loop called do while loop. A do while loop is different from the while loop in that the condition is evaluated at the end rather than at the beginning. So here, take a look at this while loop. The condition is evaluated first at the beginning, and then it's gonna go ahead and execute the codes inside the braces. So first, if the condition is not true, it's not gonna go inside the curly braces of this while loop and execute the codes. But now, let's take a look at a do while loop. So here, I just need to say do, and inside the braces of this do block, I can say println hi world. Okay, and then after the ending curly brace of this do block, I just need to say while. Here I need to put the condition inside the parentheses. I'm gonna say counter is less than 10. So in order not to create an infinite loop, after this println statement, we should say counter plus plus. So it's gonna add one value to the current value of the counter after each execution of the loop. But here, let me tell you that the do while loop is going to be executed at least once. Here, this while loop is going to evaluate the condition first. So if the condition is not true, then it's not gonna execute the code inside the while loop and print this value to the console. But take a look at this do while loop. It's gonna first execute the code inside the do block. It's gonna output the value high world to the console. It's gonna add one value to the current value of the counter, and then it's gonna evaluate the condition. So the condition is counter is less than 10, right? So here I'm gonna show you something interesting. First, let me run the app so you can see that it's gonna output the value high world 10 times to the console. This is the result of do while loop. But now I'm gonna uncomment this while loop that I have here. I just need to highlight these codes, and then if you are using Mac, Command/, and if you are using Windows, Control/ in order to uncomment the codes. So here I'm gonna change the counter variable, the value of the counter variable actually. I'm gonna say the value of the counter variable is 20 instead of 0. So when the value of the counter variable is 20, this means that the counter is not less than 10. Because 20 is not less than 10, so this condition evaluates to false, and this while loop will not be executed. It is going to be skipped. And then it's gonna take a look at the other loop that we have here, the do while loop. The do while loop is going to be executed at least once. It's gonna execute the code inside the braces of this do block. It's gonna print high world to the console. It's gonna add one value to the current value of the counter, and then it's gonna check the condition. So this condition evaluates to false because number 20 is not less than 10, so it's not gonna continue executing this do while loop. So let's run the app, and now you should see that the value high world outputted to the console once. This is the result. Hopefully that makes sense. In the next video, we are going to learn about breaking out of a loop. I look forward to seeing you next. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Morteza Kordi, and in this video, we are going to learn about breaking out of a loop. So sometimes we might want to break out of a loop that is going to cause us some problems. For example, we might want to break out of an infinite loop. You know that an infinite loop is going to cause our computer to freeze. It's going to create some problems for us. So in that case, we have a solution. We can say while. So inside the parentheses, we need to have the condition. So I'm just gonna put the Boolean value true. The while true is always true. It will never be false, right? So I'm gonna open and close this while loop. And inside this while loop, I'm gonna say println high world. Okay, so now after printing this value to the console, I want to say break. So now if we go ahead and run the app, let's see what happens. You will see that because this condition is always true, so it's gonna go inside this while loop and it's gonna output this high world to the console, as you can see here. And then it's gonna execute this break statement. The break statement is going to stop the execution of the loop, the while loop, and continue on to the code after the loop. So here, the condition says true. So this means that normally it will iterate forever. This condition will never be false and the code will execute forever. But the break statement here means that it's gonna exit the while loop and it won't continue executing the while loop again. And that's why you can see that the high world is outputted to the console only once. So here, I'm gonna go ahead and output the value high world to the console 10 times. But this time, I want the condition to always be true. How can I do that? So we need to have a variable that is going to keep track of the counter. So I'm gonna say var counter assignment operator 0. Okay, so after the println statement, I'm gonna say counter plus plus. So now I'm gonna delete this break statement and I'm gonna create an if statement inside this while loop. So inside the parentheses of this if statement, I'm gonna specify the condition. I'm gonna say if the value of this counter is equal to 10, then I don't want to go ahead and execute this code anymore. I don't want the while loop to be executed anymore. I want to exit the while loop. So that's why I'm gonna say break. So let's go ahead and run the app and see what happens. So here, in order to specify that how many times this hi world is outputted to the console, I'm gonna put a dash and then $ counter. So let's run the app again. So here in the console, you can see this hi world outputted to the console 10 times. It starts from number 0 and ends with number 9. So this means that we have 10 numbers. So hopefully now you understand that we are achieving the same result in different ways. So for example, we are using different algorithms in order to output the value hi world to the console 10 times. So I want you to know that in programming, we can achieve the same result in different ways, but you should choose the way that is more easier to read, and it also conveys your intent in the best way possible and shows how neat and clean your code is. It's very important that you write clean code. You can achieve this by practice, and practice. So as a rule of thumb, make sure to write a code that is easier to read and it also conveys your intent in the best way possible. Always consider that when you are writing code. In the next tutorial, we are going to learn about the key points of this chapter. I look forward to seeing you next. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Morteza Kordi, and in this video, we are going to learn about the key points of the chapter. First of all, the Boolean data type is used to represent true and false in programming. The comparison operators return a Boolean value. For example, the equal operator, the greater than or less than operator, and the others will return a Boolean value. We use the Boolean logic with and or operators to combine comparison conditions. If expression is used to make a decision based on a condition and return a value. I'll talk more about the return a value part later. We use else and else if within an if expression to extend decision making to more than one condition. We can use single line if-else expression in order to write a more concise and clear code. Short-circuiting means that only a minimal parts of a Boolean expression will be evaluated. The variables or constants that are declared inside a scope cannot be accessed outside of the scope. A scope can actually inherit the variables or constants of its parent. While loops allow you to repeat a specific task until a condition is met. We can break out of a loop by using the break statement. In the next tutorial, I am going to talk about the exercises of the chapter. I look forward to seeing you next. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Morteza Kordi, and in this video I am going to talk about the exercises of the chapter. First of all, create 10 Boolean comparisons. So I want you to create 10 Boolean variables, and in order to assign a value to your Boolean variables, you need to create Boolean comparisons. For example, 10 is greater than 20, or any other comparisons. Next, go ahead and create 10 Boolean logic examples. So you can use the and or operators. Create 5 string equality examples. Create 5 if-else expressions. Create 5 if and else if expressions. Write down on a piece of paper the meaning of short-circuiting. Write down on a piece of paper the meaning of scope. Create 5 while loops. Create 5 do-while loops. And break out of the while loops that you have created. In the next chapter, we are going to learn about the advanced control flow. I look forward to seeing you next.